it's reasonably very unsettled here, but it's the harbinger of good things on their way, I believe. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm going to turn my radiator off in anticipation of the work that we're going to be doing. So we are going to start today standing up, girls. Oh, I'll tell you what you need. Sorry, I haven't told you till now. Have you got a block or anything that will serve as a block? I've got a Scrabble dictionary because I haven't. My yoga blocks are on their way over in a van at the moment. But if you've got anything that you can use that's firm and sturdy and that will bring the ground up to you, that will really help for a couple of the things that we're doing this morning. So yeah, perfect. Good stuff. Are you all right, Zoe? Can't see you, but I can see that you're here.
I'm here.
Right, can I get you guys to mute yourselves now? And we will begin. Right, so coming to stand in Tadasana. So we're standing with our feet about hip width apart and not too worried. Just getting a sense that you're balanced in all four corners of your feet. So take your weight forward into your toes and then back into your heels, raising the toes and then rolling to the outer edges of your feet and then to the inner edges of your feet. And then come to a neutral point. And then lining your hips up over your ankles. So maybe tucking your pelvis just a little bit. Thinking about this line, this, I forgot what it's called now, this plane that we're in, where we want to be in one straight line. So hips are over ankles. And just rolling the shoulders gently back and letting them come to rest where we feel that they're over our hips. Let the palms very gently turn outwards so that we've got an external rotation in the upper arms. And then grow really tall here and just tuck the chin slightly. Make sure by growing tall you haven't just stuck your bum out like I have, so we want to keep the pelvis tilted. And we want to be as long a structure as we can possibly be this morning. So just bringing your attention to the feeling of being long or elongated, and softly close the eyes or lower the gaze here. So just starting to bring the attention inwards. And for the next few minutes at least, we're going to try and cultivate complete stillness, physical stillness, in the hope that mental stillness will then follow suit. So taking a moment to appreciate, even though we're standing still, all these minute and subtle shifts in our structure, just keeping us balanced and upright here. Try and resist the urge to fidget. Just notice where you're aware of sensations this morning. Perhaps noticing any places where you're holding tension. All these places will be addressed during the course of the next hour or so. So just noticing at the moment. Making sure your brow is soft and not furrowed. And that the teeth are softly parted. Letting the jaw be relaxed. And letting the shoulders be really heavy here. So feel the pull of gravity, feel the pull of the shoulders towards the floor. Maybe actively reaching towards the floor with your fingertips. Noticing how your legs feel here. Your strong and sturdy legs holding you still, balanced and in position. And thinking about the spread of your feet. The places, all of the points on your feet where the weight is being evenly distributed. Or maybe not, maybe you're aware that you're holding your weight in certain parts of your feet, just noticing whether the weight is more towards the front of your foot or more towards the heel or maybe towards the sides. Just noticing where you have chosen to rest in stillness. And now tuning in with the breath here. Noticing where the breath is moving the body, so directing the breath to the belly space. And bringing your right hand to your belly and your left hand to your heart center. So resting both hands on the torso now. So left hand is over the heart, right hand is over the navel. And really start to feel the movement of the belly into the lower hand. Trying to slow the exhale right down. So particularly on the exhale, noticing the small movements of the hand as it starts to come in towards the mid-body, towards the spine if you like, as all the breath exits the body. And feel the swell of the belly with every inhale. Now shifting the attention up to where your left hand is resting. Becoming aware of the movement of the chest beneath the left hand. So we're thinking about breath, filling the lower parts of the lungs and the mid part of the lungs. Perhaps being very aware of the movement of the ribs and the muscles between the ribs. And then finally shifting the awareness to your collarbones and breathing a little more deeply. See if you're aware of when your neck muscles engage and the very tops of your lungs fill with the breath. And then just resting your awareness of this tide of breath as it comes and goes. And we're just going to do a couple of rounds of Samavritti or equal action breath. We're going to inhale for 5, hold for 5, exhale for 5, hold for 5. We're only going to do it a couple of times, but it's good control of the breath. So everybody exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let your breath find its own rhythm now. Just notice how you feel. To be able to control the breath, we're starting to control the mind, which is why it's important to give it your attention if and when you're able. And then slowly releasing the hands and opening the eyes. Just noticing how you feel. Just adjusting your position once more, checking out your feet. Nearly all of you have body dysmorphia. Your hips are not this wide. Come on, girls, you're all little things. Put your feet together. That's better. We just need a nice firm base. Remember that little thing, if you take a little jump where you land is pretty much, your hips will put you where you want to be. If you overthink that, and of course you can jump and land like that, but if you do a spontaneous jump, you'll land with your feet beneath your hips. So just taking a moment here, let's take a big inhale and stretching overhead, looking up at the thumbs here, and really start to create some space between your ribs and your hips. So reaching as high up towards the ceiling as you can, and then relax your shoulders. You can relax your gaze as well, so bring your gaze forward, so we're not looking at the hands, but relax the shoulders so they've slid down the back here. And then taking the right hand, grabbing the left wrist, we're going to take a dip over towards the right. So we're actively pulling the left wrist over. This is a lateral stretch, so it's just a sideways movement. We're not turning the spine at all. We're just taking a bend over to the side, noticing how this feels. So breathing here. So you should feel quite tight in the armpits and the tricep region on the left hand side. Lots of space between the ribs and the hips. Head and neck are quite loose and passive, perhaps gazing down towards your right foot. And then slowly let's come back up to center. Reach really high, looking up at the fingers again. Really reach and stretch those fingers away. Relax the shoulders down, bring your head and neck back to center. Let's grab the right wrist with the left hand now and take a little sway over towards the left. Noticing how this side feels compared to the other. So lots of space between the ribs and hips. Breathing. And then back to center, reaching right up towards the ceiling again, looking at the thumbs. Let's just take a tiny back bend here. So push the hips forward just a tad. Tilting your head back just a tad. And then head and neck come center, bring the hips back in the line, release and relax the shoulders down your back. And this time we're going to cross the left foot over the right. And we're going to grab the left wrist with the right, and we're going to take another dip over to the right hand side here. I have a feeling I've got the wrong foot crossed. We'll try it on the other side with the legs like this. So breathe in here. And then slowly coming up to center. Leave the feet where they are. Let's swap hands. Yeah, I think this is the side it's meant to be. So just noticing the difference. We'll do the same stretch with both sides on the other side as well. And then up to center, reaching the fingertips up and high, uncross the feet. Let's cross them the other way. Taking hold of the right wrist with the left hand. Let's first go left. So we're bumping the right hip right. Noticing what's happening with the weight distribution in your feet. And then leaving the feet where they are. Let's straighten up. Grab hold of the left wrist with the right hand and go the other way. Well, you will look very graceful and balletic. It looks beautiful. And then all the way back to center. And uncrossing your feet here. Taking your hands behind your head and your elbows really wide. We're going to take the hips forward and just look towards the ceiling. So cradling the back of your neck. Taking a little bit of a back bend here. Nothing too adventurous. We're just warming up. So elbows are really wide, so we're getting a stretch in the front body across the pecs here. Looking up, just noticing how it feels. Full engagement in the hamstrings, and then slowly straighten up. And now bending into the knees, leaving your hands where they are. Bring the elbows right by your ears and round down. So we're soft in the knees, we're rounded through the back here. We're hugging our elbows around our ears, really round through the back. And in fact, bring your hands to your knees here now and round even more. Bring your chin into your chest, rounding through the back. And then slowly let's straighten up. Rolling the shoulders up, back and round. Taking a moment here. And then getting ready, I'm going to turn around sideways. We are going to inhale the arms up. And as we exhale the arms down, we're going to come into chair. So arms come behind. So imagine you're doing, if you've got one of those Wii Fit things, if you ever did the ski jump, you want to be in that sort of position. And then slowly let's come up. Hands come up and overhead, little back bend here. And then we're going to come all the way down again. Arms come behind. So we're going a little bit deeper now, starting to warm into the quads. And let's come up. All the way up. This time let's come up onto the toes. So we're looking up, we're up on our toes, we're challenging our balance, and then slowly back down. Arms come behind. Once more, let's come all the way up onto the toes. And bring the hands together in prayer. And as we come down, I want you to stay on your toes. So we're bending our knees, we're on our toes, and we're bringing our right elbow round to the left knee. We're still on our toes, we're still on our toes, and then you can set your toes down. So we're in chair pose. We've got our left elbow winging back into the body. Our fingertips are joined and facing forward, and we're looking back over the left shoulder. And we're breathing. And then slowly, let's bring it all back up. Hands stay together all the way up to the top. Up on your tippy toes. Staying on your tippy toes as you start to come down, bending into the knees slowly, slowly, slowly. So we're up off the heels. Left elbow comes around to right knee. Make sure both your knees are still parallel and that your left knee hasn't shot forward. And then turning, place your heels down now, and turning to look behind at the right elbow, which is tucked right in. Taking your breath here. And then slowly coming back to center, arms come all the way back and overhead, up on the toes, stay on the toes, and slowly, slowly bringing the arms down to the side of the body. Release the toes down. And take a little break. Give your legs a little bit of a kick. And now, moving swiftly on, we are going to take our weight into our left leg. So once we've done, I've just realised my mat is at the wrong angle. The mat or the camera is at the wrong angle. I'm just going to turn it around so it makes a bit more sense. That's better. So bringing your weight into your left leg. Hands come to hips. Let's slowly bring the right knee up. Finding something to look at your eye level in the distance. So left leg is nice and straight. We're in a nice plane, straight plane. Our pelvis is tucked. We're as tall as we can possibly be. The chin is tucked. Maybe taking hold of the knee with the left hand and outstretching the right arm behind you. If you want to take a twist here, let's slowly start to take the head round. See how the balance is here. The minute that the balance starts to go, just stop. If you can keep going, do. Whoop. And then slowly head and neck come back to center. Whoops. And without, good, I'm glad everyone's wobbling. Without setting the foot down, what we're going to do is cross the right leg over the left. So we've got this nice figure of four. We're going to join our hands in prayer. And slowly we're coming down to single leg chair. So our bums are stuck out like they are in chair. Hang on, if I get myself set up. And we're deep into this squat. So your bums are, good job, girls. Go on, Tina, you can do it. Maybe bring your foot a little bit lower, Tina. You've got it ever so high. Start lower. And it's actually easier the more you can bend your leg because you've got something to rest on then. So I think it's your left leg that's letting you down. That's it, stick your bum, perfect. Good job, look at Linda, she's been there hours. Go on, Shona, really bend that left leg. The deeper you can go, the easier it is, believe me. We're going to stay here for 3, 2, 1. Slowly straighten up, slowly unravel. Good job. It's a tough one, that, isn't it? It's a tough one. I did give you a clue on the Facebook photo today. That's what it was. I was doing a single leg chair. So, of course, we need to check out the other leg now. We'll start with the standing twist. So let's just find our balance into our right leg. So the big thing here is finding something to look at that's at your eye height. If you look down, that's where you're going. And we're just bringing the knee up to start with. We're strengthening the standing leg, and then we're going to take the right hand to the left knee and take the left hand behind you. Really pull that palm back so that the shoulder is being drawn round. And if and when you're ready, we could turn to look at the palm. Really take it slowly here if your balance is challenged. Think about what's going on in your toes. Think about what is happening at your eye level. And then slowly coming back round to the front. And with grace and dignity, letting go of the knee and crossing it straight over the other leg. So already start to have a little micro bend in the right leg, setting ourselves up. Start to bend down into this squat, so bum goes behind you, hands come together in prayer. Good job, everyone. Good job. Excellent. And we're just going to bend that knee, Shona. Bend your right leg. Just slowly looking ahead, so your gaze is forward. Really think about what's going on in your glutes here, particularly your left glute. See if you can almost squeeze into them. It's quite difficult in this position, but that's kind of what we need to be doing. And then slowly, don't do that. Slowly, let's prepare to come out of the pose by starting to straighten up and coming to standing. Well done. It's a tough one, that's a really tough one. Good job. At the end of the class, Linda, get me to talk to you about water. I'll tell you something interesting about water at the end. I don't know, we won't go into it now, but can any of you, I suspect I know the answer to this because I don't see any of you doing it, but can any of you get anywhere near the lotus position? So you know how we were just in the figure of 4? If you grab hold of that foot, can you get it to your hip crease? Even if you hold it like that. Give it a go. Again, this is about being good job, everyone. Good job. Good job. Now just try and stand upright and see if we can just hold this posture here for a moment. So we're nice and strong in the standing leg. And from here, let's just see if we can take a forward fold. So hanging on to that foot, maybe taking one hand towards the ground. You haven't got to go all the way down. I just want you to get the feeling of what's happening here in the glute. I want you to strengthen that standing leg. So fingertips are reaching towards the floor. Maybe this is where an upturned brick or block might be useful. Just looking down and then slowly straightening back up again. Yeah, good job, Shona. Get your brick. Sometimes it's quite nice just to meet something for a bit of stability. I've got my Scrabble thing here. So putting your foot, we'll still stay on the same foot, whichever foot you were working with. So set yourself up first. Hold that foot in position into the hip crease. And then let's just come forward. Because eventually, let me have a look at you. Is your brick a little bit far away, Tina? You want it kind of almost underneath you. Excellent. Because ultimately, what we want to be able to do is let go of the hand and just stand in a forward fold here with the head tucked in. So just get the sense that that's where we're heading with it. But it was excellent that you've all got enough mobility in your hip and actually your ankle. It's quite something to tuck the ankle into the hip crease like you do. My foot is not straight, it's kind of at an angle. So I don't know what it looks like, but yeah. Whoops, completely lost it now. So anyway, let's give it a go on the other side, just in case you've got a bit more flexibility. So have your trusty prop nearby. So setting the other ankle into your hip, holding it there if you want to. There's no problem with that whatsoever. Just taking a moment. So find your drishti point. Get yourself set up. Slurp that pelvis up and under so that we're in. Excellent job. Tina, your knee is at right angles to your body. Can you point it down towards the ground? Or is that a limitation? Okay, work with what you've got. Whatever you've got is fine. It doesn't have to be a certain shape. You don't have to look like me. Shoulders is quite high too. The point is we're getting the foot to where we want it to be. And then we're slowly going to take the fold. So reaching for our prop. Do the best you can. Well done, you're all giving it a good go. Zoe, I trust you're doing it too. Excellent. So you've all had a feel of what it feels like in the glute to do that. Ultimately, you can come out and rest now, walk your legs through. Ultimately, we're going to keep working on this because I think it's a nice one to do, not only for balance, it's great for concentration. It's really good for the old glutes. But eventually what we're going to do is we're going to be able to come into this forward fold and we're going to take a bind. So we're going to reach round with the same arm as leg and grab hold of the toes. I can't do it yet, but that's the theory. That's where we're going, that we're fully supporting ourselves in that forward fold with the leg up in that position. But well done, that was a really good effort because we haven't really done anything like that before. So just setting your block to one side for a moment. We will use it again. Sorry, I just need to pin my nose. Ooh. And coming to the top of your mat, let's just take a nice big up and overhead stretch. Little bit of a back bend here, pushing the hips forward. And slowly let's roll all the way down into a forward fold. So bending the knees as generously as you need to. Let's just take a moment here. Head and neck are tucked in, are passive. Send the hips high. Let's really stretch into the glutes where we've just been working. Just taking a moment here. Relax the arms, head and neck can nod yes and shake no. And now on an inhale, we're going to come to a halfway lift. So straightening the legs, maybe the hands come to the shins or the thighs, hips go behind us, and we're in a nice straight back position. So we can really feel the hamstrings here. Hamstrings are engaged. And then exhale into a fold once more. Palms come down to the mat, bending your knees if you need or want to. And we're going to step back long with the right leg and set the back knee down. So front knee is bent, back leg is stretched behind us. We want a nice right angle in the front leg. Make sure you can still see your toes. If you can't, just wriggle your foot forward a little bit. So we're in quite a strong lunge here. Excellent. Just taking a moment here, maybe if you're a bit wobbly, widen where your feet and knees are. So creep your left foot over to the left side of the mat, creep the right knee over to the right. Give yourself a bit more of a stable base. Just taking a moment here, really straighten through the torso, and then let's take the arms up and overhead. Really reach up strong and then slide the shoulders down the back, relax. And then let's take a little back bend here. So really looking back and up at the thumbs, feeling the stretch in the right hip flexor. Toes on the right foot are tucked. And then slowly head and neck come back to center. Hands come together in prayer, and we're going to bring the right elbow to the left knee. So we're coming into this twist again. And once you're here, if you feel set up and stable, I want you to straighten your back leg. Really push away with the back heel. Good job. And just think about all the things that are going on in the legs and the hip flexors here. Take a few breaths here. And then slowly head and neck come to center. Let's lower that back knee. Bring both hands to the mat here. And slowly just walking the hands back as we straighten the front leg and come out of the foot. So we're in this half monkey split here. Just taking a moment, we don't have to sit on the back leg. We just want to get the front leg straight. Toes are pulled back towards the shins. And then we're going to come forward again. We're going to straighten on that back leg, coming up onto the front leg. Just taking a moment. We're going to straighten the front leg and bend. So back leg stays straight, heel is being sent away behind us, nice and strong. So we're just bending and stretching into the front leg. 2 more. Last one. We're going to stay here, we're going to press the hands down, knee comes down to the mat. We're going to take one more monkey split here, so keeping the back toes tucked, rolling back on this leg, pulling the left toes towards the chin, really sitting back here. And slowly rolling back into the foot. Hands come to the mat just in front of the foot here. Tuck the back toes, lift the leg, and we're going to step that foot to the front to join the left. And forward fold. So nice and relaxed in the knees here. Let's just take a moment. We've got one leg considerably longer than the other now. So on an inhale, let's come to halfway lift. Straighten the legs, hips go back. We're looking directly down. So really feel the lengthening in your cervical spine. And then forward fold, hands come down to the mat, bend the knees. And this time we're going to step back along with the left leg. So keeping the toes tucked, setting the knee down, and coming up into our lunge. So remembering, making sure you can still see your toes beyond your knee, which means you've got a nice right angle here. Back leg is tucked. Maybe you want to take it a little bit further back. Let's take a nice overhead stretch here. So hopefully you can feel a nice stretch in your left hip flexor. Let's look up towards the thumbs and take a little bit of a back bend here. Looking up at the thumbs, nice and relaxed in the shoulders. And then joining the hands together in prayer. Slowly as we bring the arms down, we're going to hook the left elbow over the right knee. And then with the right knee, we're going to push against the left elbow. So right knee is tracking towards the right side of the mat. Don't let that knee swing in. We're going to straighten the back leg. And then we're going to turn to look over our right shoulder. So we're really pushing away with the left heel. Lovely stretch in the Achilles, the hamstrings, the hip flexors. Just taking a moment here. Finding your breath. 3, 2, 1. Bringing your attention back to the front here. Hands come to the mat, setting that back knee down. And now, keeping the feet tucked, let's take the hips back and straighten the right leg. So toes come off the mat. We're pulling them back towards the shin here. Really strong stretch in the hamstring in this half monkey split. Taking a moment, finding a breath here. And then slowly coming forwards. And hands come to the knee here. And we're going to straighten the back leg. We're going to straighten the front leg and bend. Straighten, bend. A few more times. Really tune into your breath, what's happening in the leg muscles, the hip flexors. One more. Down we go. Let's just hold it here for 3, 2, 1. Hands come to the mat. And looking towards your right foot, we're going to step the left foot up to join it here. And forward fold. So bending your knees as generously as you need to here. Just really taking a nice Few relaxed breaths. So finding your breath here. On the next inhale, let's come to halfway lift. So straightening the legs. Hands come to shins or thighs, or fingertips can stay on the mat. But make sure you're looking down. So really check in with your cervical spine here, that it's long, that your shoulders are away from your ears. Just thinking about the setup here. And let's forward fold again. And this time, as we inhale, arms come out to the side, all the way up to the top. Looking up towards the thumbs. And exhale, palms down together through heart center. Well done. Oh, your hips feeling nice and warm now. We're going to carry on a little bit more in that vein. So inhaling the arms up. Exhaling down into a forward fold, bending the knees. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Stepping back with the left foot. Have it at a 45-degree angle and coming up into warrior one. So the back foot is angled and facing forward. Front leg is bent. We can see our toes. Arms are up. Torso is nice and straight. So imagine that plane of movement that we're working between now. Really switch on the glutes at the back here. Just taking a moment to reach up. Be tall and heavy. Be tall and heavy. What am I talking about? Be tall and lengthened. Really let your shoulders be heavy and draw down. And then from here, bringing the left hand down and placing it behind your back. So bending at the elbow. And now we're going to take a little back bend. So we're in humble warrior here, looking up at the palm, bending generously into that front leg. And then slowly straightening that leg, coming up straight and pivoting on the back foot. We're going to come straight into warrior two. So you know how you set yourself up for this. So aligning approximately your heel and the arch of your foot. We're bending into the front leg. The body weight is back, so it's not a lunge. We haven't gone forward. We're staying back here. Arms are outstretched. And we're going to look down the middle finger of the right arm. So the right knee is tracking towards the right corner of the mat here. Really just squeeze your shoulder blades together for a second, or imagine that's what you're trying to do, and then relax slightly. So we're set up beautifully. And then have a quick look at your monitor and check that you haven't got one arm up in the air and the other one down towards the ground. So trying to figure out where you are in time and space. Just taking a moment here. Thinking about the opposing forces in your feet. So we've got energy traveling forward into the right foot, back into the outer edge of the back foot. And now here, up, turning the right palm, let's come to lean on our right thigh. Once we're there, we can drop the left arm down, round, up and overhead. So we're reaching directly away, so our bicep is next to our left ear. We're reaching away actively with the fingers. Again, thinking about the energy in your feet, make sure you are pushing back into the outer edge of your back foot as much as you are into the front foot. So really just taking a moment here. Nice straight arms, straight fingertips, lots of energy. And then slowly, 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 we're going to bring that left arm up, back and down, coming back to warrior two. Let's straighten that front leg. So we've still got the arms up. And from here, we're just going to try and reach for something that's slightly out of reach in front of us on the right-hand side. So the right leg is staying straight. So it's our torso. We're sucking the right hip back. We're leaning forward, and then we're just going to tilt into our triangle. So you don't have to reach the floor here. Maybe you want to have your block. You can reach your block, but it's nice just to get yourself in this twist. What we need to remember here, if everyone can just check in with your pelvis, see if you can tuck your bum under here, because there's a tendency as we take this twist that our bums go out behind us and we come out of that plane of movement that we were in. So really tuck both hips in here, looking up at the palm, and then slowly coming all the way back to center. And pivoting on the right foot, bring the right toes in towards the middle of the mat. Hands come to hips. And let's take a forward fold here. This should feel like quite a break after what we've been doing. So really letting head and neck be taken by gravity here. Hands can come to wherever you want them to be. So maybe have your block in front of you, rest on the block. Maybe your hands easily come to the floor. So just hanging out here where you want to, but sending your hips high. So we're keeping on with the tension and the stretch into the glutes and the hamstrings. So just taking a moment here, feeling everything getting nice and long. And creeping both hands over to the left ankle. And we're going to look back over the left shoulder. So hugging the torso in towards the thigh here. So we're intensifying the stretch on the left-hand side. Find your breath, connect here, and then slowly bring both hands into the center of the mat, and let's walk them round over to the right ankle. Hug the torso in towards the thigh, and then look over the right shoulder. So we've got a lot going on here. We're in a twist, we're in a fold. Find your breath. Think about what's happening in your feet. Are you pushing the energy into the outer edges of your feet? That's where it should be going. So you should be feeling like you're slightly rolling into the edges of your feet. And slowly walking the hands back into the center. Just taking a moment here, letting your head and neck nod, yes, shake, no. No tension in the head and neck at all. And then very, very slowly bring a micro bend into your knees and hands come to hips, and slowly let's roll all the way up to the top. Well done. Now, from here, we're going to leave our right foot exactly where it is, and we're going to turn. Oh no, we're not. We're going to turn both our feet because we're going to do warrior one. So we want our right foot in at about 45 degrees. Left foot is out in front. It's bent nice and generously. We can see our toes. Back leg is straight. We're up nice and tall, and then we're going to take our arms up overhead. Take a little look up towards the thumbs. Really suck in the abs here. Connect with the breath. Sink a little deeper into the front leg. And then bending into the right elbow, let's bring the right hand behind the back. And take a little back bend here. So we're looking up into the palm of the left hand for our humble warrior. A few more breaths here. And then slowly, as we start to bring the left hand down, we raise the right hand up. We pivot on the feet and arrange ourselves into warrior two. So setting yourself up, thinking about the edges of the feet here, the back edge of the back foot, the toes of the front foot. Squeeze those shoulder blades together to get the arms in the right position. Nice deep bend into the front leg and looking down the middle finger of the left arm here. Tucking the pelvis under. Connect with your breath, channel your inner warrior. So we're very strong, we're sending energy both ways through feet and fingers. Arms are very active, no passive limbs here. And then bending the left elbow and up, turning the palm, let's come to rest on the deeply bent left leg. Bringing the right arm down and through and up overhead. So reaching away here into our extended side angle pose, really pushing into the back edge of the back foot and looking up into the palm of the right hand. So finding your breath here. if you're gasping or not quite getting good full breaths here, just come out of the posture a notch. And then very slowly, let's bring that right arm down as we start to straighten the front leg. So bringing yourself up, maybe shifting the feet in slightly, but leaving them at the same angle as for Warrior Two. Having both hips so that they're facing the long edge of your mat here. And sucking this left hip in. And imagine you're just trying to reach something out of reach. So it's just a little reach forward, both arms are straight here. Maybe putting your block into position if you know it's helpful. So I've got mine next to my left foot. And then coming into your triangle. So remembering to tuck the pelvis under here. Really squidge it under. Feel all the good things that are going on, looking up at the palm of the upstretched hand here. Connecting with the breath. 2 more breaths. Thinking about the energy in the back edge of the back foot. And slowly, 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 let's straighten up. And arms come down. Let's just pivot on the left foot so that both feet are parallel here. Hands come to hips. And let's slowly, down we go. So our legs are straight. Bringing the hands to wherever you feel you want them. Hips are high. So maybe bringing the hands down to the mat here. Head and neck are very loose, so you're looking back behind you. You can nod, yes, you can shake now. Just taking a moment here to see how this feels now that our hamstrings are elongated, warmed up. And now think about your feet and the outer edges of your feet. What's happening here? Are you rolled out into them? See what a difference it makes if you take your attention to the outer edges of the feet here. And then very slowly and mindfully, hands come to hips, preparing to come out of the pose, micro bend into the knees as we slowly roll up. Head and chin are the last things to come up. Ooh. Well done. When they're there, have a little stretch, do whatever you want. We've got a couple more standing things I want to try, and then we will go down to the mat. Finally, I hear you say. So, having your block close to the right edge, top edge of your mat, and standing at the top edge of your mat, we are very slowly, let's reach all the way up, and then fold all the way forward, bending your knees if you need to, if you want to, just take it nice and easy here. And then setting your block up so it's next to, just in front of the toes of the right foot. Bring your right hand to the block. And very slowly, we're going to start to extend the left leg away. Now, just take it as high as you think is at right angle. And then I want you to dial your toes down so that they're facing very slightly to the right. This will ensure that you have got your hip in the right position, that you haven't taken it out. So, Linda, for you, I would turn the block on its side. Get a bit more height. That's it. Perfect. Because what we're doing with the block, we're trying to get the arms and the legs the same length. And if you're not blessed with long arms, I've got short arms, so I need something to assist. So we just need something to hold that allows that to happen. And the leg only needs to be as high as, so that we can create a right angle. And if and when you are stable there, we want to take the left arm directly up overhead in a straight line. Let me have a look. Good job, everyone. And if you are able, slowly, slowly, slowly turn to look at the upturned palm. It's a big ask, and it's a variation on where we're at that you don't have to take. This is Ardha Chandrasana, or half moon pose. And just to be in the shape is good enough with the arm in position. If looking at the upturned palm is too much, then don't take it today. Just get used to the shape, which muscles are switched on when you've got your legs sorted out, when you're using your support, because both legs are very active here. And then when you're ready, slowly bending into the standing foot and bring the other one down, and just take a break. That was a good effort, well done. It's worth just, Linda gone for a gin and tonic. It's worth, seriously, it's worth just being in the shape and figuring out what's going on where without trying to reach the ultimate, oh, this looks really great once I'm there. It's great just to take your time in this place where you can figure out what's going on. I've got the wrong hand down here. Where you can figure out what's going on with your hip. You see, automatically my hip wants to turn out here. So to dial the feet round and just looking directly down at the hand. I could do with a bit more height on here, but a Scrabble dictionary isn't terribly stable. But just to feel what's going on in this shape is good enough, actually. And then to be able to add on the arm and then look at it is a progression that you can take when you're ready. But let's give it a go on this other side, because you might be more proficient on the other side. So setting yourself up, I think we were just standing on our right leg then, weren't we? So this time we're going to stand on our left leg. Make sure your block is just above your left toes. So we're starting from our forward fold. We've got our left hand on the support. Our head is looking in, so our head and neck are nice and relaxed here. And let's start just by taking the right leg behind us and getting the hips set up. So we're nice and active in the leg. We're pressing away with the heel, dialing the toes in towards the left. And if and when you're ready, you can take the right arm up overhead. Let's have a little look. Good job. Don't worry about wobbling. Linda, for you, I would move your block maybe 2 inches further forward. You've got your block a little, yeah, that's it. Try it like that. That looks a lot better. That looks a lot better. Now with your upstretched arm, don't worry, with your head, look directly down at your brick. With your head. Just look at your brick and just take the arm up. For you, that's enough. I'll look at, perfect. Right, take the arm a little bit higher up. Are you on your toes there? Good job, just stay there, but look down at your brick. That was a good show. Shoni, you're perfect where you are. Does that feel quite comfortable? Sorry, I shouldn't be talking to you, should I? And Tina, excellent. Can you get that? Can you get your standing leg straight? There you go. Excellent job. Brilliant. So you've all found where you're at. Sorry, Zoe, I can't, I've got nothing to see. All come out of it now. Take a break. Take a break. Slowly come out of it. Well done. It's a hard one, that one, but it's worth spending the time just getting it right so that you know what it feels like to have your arm at the right length. If you Google images for half moon pose, you'll see so many different varieties where people have got their hands on the ground, but then they're at this weird angle because, as you can see, my arms are very short compared with my legs, so I'm going down. It actually looks a lot nicer when arms and legs are the same distance. So but it's a good one to just for the discipline of setting your muscles up where they need to be so that you are in a stable structure is what I want to say. So that's what we're after there. Well done. You'll be glad to know that the really hard work is, well, just about to begin. So coming back to where we were, have your block handy because we're still going to use it. So looking, well, standing on your mat however you want. So having your block handy. Feet are about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. And slowly we're just going to come down and do this little creeping movement with our feet until we feel quite comfortable with where our hips are. We're coming into a squat here. If you know that you can only squat comfortably with something behind your heels, by all means get something behind your heels. If you can set your heels down flat, that's where ultimately we're going with this. But if you need to put a folded blanket, or if you need to fold up the edge of your mat to balance your heels on, then go for it. The important thing is that we are not in this shape. We want to be upright, like so, yeah? So we want our heels down, we want our backs to be as upright as they can be, and we want to have our hands together in prayer, easing our elbows apart. So you need to play with your feet to find where it's comfortable. My feet are quite a bit wider than hip width apart, I'd say, to make it comfortable for me. And then to bring hands together in prayer. Good job, you all look reasonably comfortable. So growing as tall as you can through the crown of your head. And connect with your breath, just breathe for a minute. And then bringing your hands to your knees, we're going to shoulder roll. So we're just taking one shoulder towards the floor at a time. If you want to come up on your heels here, you can. We're still doing the same stuff. So while we're stretching out our hips, we're working another part of our body. It's a bit of a distraction technique. So really take this nice and slow and then hold it there. And then the other side. And then the other side. And now everybody come up on their heels. So I'm going to bring my feet a little bit closer. So we're up. Heels are up and we're balancing on our toes. Yeah. Let me turn around. So for me, it helps if I really come up into the balls of my feet, so I'm quite high. And once you're there, I want you to bring the arms behind you as though you were a bird in flight. So we're actually balancing here. We've got a counterbalance going on. We've got our arms behind us. Really up onto the balls of your feet. Good job, everyone. Nicely balanced. So we're in a balance here. It's toe balance. We're going to hold it for a few more breaths. So do what you can to fine-tune this posture. So squeezing the shoulders together here. Feeling the warmth growing in the shins. And then growing taller, bringing the hands together to meet and clasp the hands together, draw the shoulders together, raise the arms up. We're still up on our toes here. Oh, I expect your shins are getting very warm. Release the hands, get your block and place your block between your heels and then just set your bottom down on your block. So hopefully you haven't moved your feet at all. You were exactly where you were when we were in the squat and on our toes. And we've literally just lowered our sitting bones down onto the block. So hopefully you're now in a really nice, it's a good way to get into quite an extreme squat that otherwise would be difficult to do. Hang on a minute, let me set myself up again. So by lowering yourself onto a block, you've got your hips nice and wide. So really find your lift and length in your spine here. And chin comes down to the chest. So hooking both arms around the knees for support here. Feet are flat on the floor. We've got our hips. Lovely hip opening this is, well done. And then taking the right ear over the right shoulder. And back to center. Left ear to left shoulder. And back to center. And slowly and mindfully coming up off your block. Moving the block out of the way. And taking your feet as wide as your mat. So we're still in a squat type position. And bring your hands behind your feet. Now, maybe some of you will remember doing this as a kid. Bring your hands so that they're behind your feet and slowly walk your feet in towards each other. And maybe you can balance here. I know I can't, but we want to get to the point where we can get our feet almost touching. Anyone in that position yet? Anyone balanced beautifully? And then slowly, when you get to where you know you've got to, and you know you're not going to be able to lift your feet off the ground, I want you to just roll back onto your bum. So your hands are still underneath your shins. Is Linda laughing? Oh, I can't do it either, it's fine, we're all learning. So I want you to have your feet in front of you, as though we were going to do Baddha Konasana, and your arms are between your knees, reaching behind you. I don't know if you can see that very well. Let me tilt this pose is called tortoise, in case any of you know it. You think, oh, that's what she's trying to do. So, my feet are as wide as my mat. My hands are looped underneath my legs here, and ultimately you try and get your feet together, and we want to be in a forward fold. This is probably as good as I'm going to get. I can get my feet a bit closer together, but there's a lot going on in this stretch, as you will feel if you can attempt it. So the first thing to do is have your knees up, thread your arms through, walk them behind you. That's number one. If that's enough for you, it's quite an intense stretch into the glutes. Then try and get your feet a bit closer together, and then ultimately try and direct your forehead in the general direction of your feet. Let's just take a few breaths wherever we're at here. And then slowly, you may unknit your limbs. It's a tricky one, that, but there's a lot going on. It really stretches into the triceps, it stretches into the glutes. It's a good all-rounder, and it's quite a funky one. If it's one we can learn together and try and get right to the point where we're balancing. I'll look up more on how we can progress that balance where we're actually holding ourselves up, but it's a tricky one. So let's come sideways on our mats. Take your legs nice and wide. Find your lift and length, sitting nice and tall here. And without losing anything in the length of your spine, just slide your arms down your shin side. So we're not collapsing into ourselves, we're staying nice and tall, and we're just hinging at the hips here. So really pushing away out of the arms, nice and strong. And slide the hands a little further forward. So we're just in a forward fold here, just stretching the inner thighs, like they haven't had enough work today. Last time, reaching the fingertips towards the ankles, looking down at the mat now. Just taking a moment here. Couple more breaths. And then slowly walking the hands back and bringing the legs into center. Now, do you remember when we were doing our forward fold earlier, we were trying to work towards the bind? We're just going to revisit that now that our legs are beautifully long. So keeping the left leg outstretched and the right foot, bring into the lotus position into your left hip crease. So this is exactly the same as what we were doing earlier, but it's a little bit easier actually because we are seated. And just sitting with the foot into the left hip crease here. And with the right hand, just reach behind your body. So the idea is, I haven't got a hope at the moment, but the idea is that our fingers have grabbed hold of our big toes here. And we're going to sit nice and tall, and we're just going to take the left fingertips forward. So we're in a forward fold here, right hand is behind the back. You'll feel this intensely in your right glute. Our gaze is just beyond the left foot. If you can grab your toes, do. In fact, look down at your knee here. This is nice and it just releases the neck. I'm going to stay here for 3, 2, 1, and then slowly coming up, releasing the bind from behind your back. And let's take that leg out in front, give it a bit of a pat. And now let's bring the left foot into our lotus position. Maybe this hip is easier, maybe it's tighter, just noticing the differences. If you need to support the knee, if your knee is high in the air, then feel free to put something underneath it. Our hips are all constructed slightly differently. So once we've got that foot set up, let's take the left hand behind us. And of course, we're going to grab hold of the left big toe now. Or we're going to imagine that in our wildest dreams, that's what we're doing. And then straightening the right leg, toes are towards the shin here, sitting nice and tall. And let's just reach towards the toes. If you can't get there, don't worry about it. Just send the fingertips forward. We just want to stretch in the hamstring while we're externally rotating that left hip. Looking down at the knee, let your head and neck be nice and relaxed here. And we'll hold it here for 3, 2, 1, and release. Slowly releasing the bind. Let's give that leg a pat. Crossing right foot over left thigh. Left elbow comes around right knee. Right hand comes all the way around the body. And we're going to take another bind again. Of course, we're going to grab our left thigh here, or the back of our t-shirt near our left hip, wherever we get to. That's where I'm at. I've got hold of my t-shirt near my left hip. So we're sitting as tall as we can here. The purpose of the bind is to bring this right shoulder back. So we've got a little bit of torsion going on here. We've got a twist, and then we can have a look over the right shoulder. So left leg is active here, really reaching away with the heel. Connect with the breath, make sure you're not holding it. And then head and neck come center, and we're going to release there. Well done. And now let's go straight to the other leg. Left foot crosses over right. Right elbow hooks around that left knee. Sitting nice and tall. Let's take the left hand round, bring it round so the fingertips are round towards the right hip. And then let's take our twist here. So connecting with the breath, noticing what it feels like when the belly is constricted somewhat, the leg is in the way, so just breathing around that. And then slowly head and neck come back to center. Let's unravel. And with the left leg still bent, taking hold of the inside of the arch of the left foot, we're just going to extend that leg away. So there's nothing unusual or difficult about this at this stage of the class. Our hamstrings are so long, we could do anything. And now swapping hands, so putting the right hand to the what's it called, the arch, and we're just going to take a twist here. Take the left arm behind you, so we're holding the left foot with the right hand, we're taking a twist, looking over the shoulder, and then slowly releasing that leg back down. Right hand comes inside right arch. Let's take a stretch there. Just reach away, marvel at how long our hamstrings are, how much we've pinged them about today. And then swapping hands, bending the knee while you do so. So stretching away and taking the right arm behind you, taking a bit of a twist here. Breathing, of course, and then slowly lowering that leg. And do you know what, guys? You can lay down now. I can hear the cheering. Down we go. Slowly, slowly, slowly lower onto the mat. And the first thing we're going to do is bring our knees in towards our armpits. So knees are very, very wide here, feet are wide here. And we're going to take happy baby. So just bring your hands to the outside edge of the feet and take a little roll here. So we've done lots of hip and leg work today. In fact, we've done lots of work today. We've done some balancing. We've got ourselves in all sorts of contortions. It should have been called the pretzel class today, I think. We've done some tying of knots in our bodies. And then just coming to stillness here and bringing one foot to the mat and then the other. And crossing the right leg over the left. Arms come away from the body. Let's just let the knees roll over towards the right now. So keeping the shoulders on the mat, nice and easy, get to where you're going to, lifting and turning the head in the opposite direction. So we're getting a full body twist here. Head and neck come back to center. Let's roll both the knees back to center. Uncross the legs. This time bump the hips over to the right side of the mat, cross the left leg over the right. Bring both knees down over towards the left. And then lift and turn the head and look in the opposite direction. So you should feel this in the outer right hip. And then head and neck come back to center, legs come back to center, and do whatever you would like to do for your Shavasana. So if you want blankets, if you want blocks, if you want bolsters, supports, pillows, candles, whatever you want, surround yourself with loveliness, make yourself comfortable, and let's just settle into the final moments of our practice. So if you're laying in the traditional Shavasana shape, just letting the ankles roll out. Let your palms be upturned, fingertips softly curled into the palms. And just connect with the breath here. Letting the jaw be relaxed, the teeth parted. And tune into whatever sensations are present in your breath. I'm going to let you have a few minutes of silence in your stillness. So starting to deepen the breath a little here. Bringing a little bit of movement back to your fingers and toes. Perhaps running the fingertips over the tops of the thumbs. And just making small movements into the ankles and the wrists. Maybe bringing one knee into the chest and then the other. Taking a little roll from side to side. And then just coming to rest on your right hand side for a few breaths. And then very slowly and carefully coming up to a seated position. And joining the hands together here in prayer. Let's just bow our heads in acknowledgement of the time that we set aside to practice yoga together this morning, for which I thank you greatly. And we've united our minds, our body and our breath, and hopefully we've once again appreciated how truly awesome and amazing our bodies are. Namaste.